Chibiko was bored. He sat on the sofa, stared at the wall, and sighed. He had spent the whole afternoon watching TV, and it wasn't even good TV. It was boring TV. He had been watching the television simply because he couldn't think of anything more interesting to do than watching television. And now he was wishing that he hadn't spent so much time watching. He could have drawn some pictures, or learned to cook something new, or tried to play the guitar. The only problem was, he didn't know what he wanted to draw, whether he wanted to make a green curry or perhaps bake a cake, or indeed what song he wanted to play. Perhaps I could go somewhere, he thought to himself as he got up and looked out of his window. But the afternoon was growing late, and the moon was now already faintly visible in the sky. It would soon be nighttime, and the night was too dark for Chibiko to comfortably go out and about. He looked back at his sofa. He looked out of the window again, and then he had an idea. Chibiko picked up his phone and called Danny. "Are you free tomorrow?" he asked. "I have an idea for something we can do." Chibiko went to his storeroom and got all of the empty cardboard boxes that he could find. He then made a simple dinner for himself that may have contained a few too many onions. And then he went to bed. He was looking forward to what he and his friend would do the following day. The next morning, Chibiko woke up the second his alarm sounded. He was very excited. He took a shower, ate breakfast, and brushed his teeth. Then, his doorbell rang. Danny had arrived exactly on time. "What are we doing?" Danny asked. "Follow me," Chibiko said, and led his friend to the pile of boxes. "Can you help me bring these out to the backyard?" he said. And so, Danny and Chibiko spent the morning moving boxes to Chibiko's backyard and arranging them. They took a break to eat lemon-flavored cookies and drink mango lassi. And then in the afternoon, they moved the sofa. It was very heavy, but Chibiko promised that it would be worth the effort. At last, they were done. "We did it!" Chibiko exclaimed. "Did what?" Danny asked. "Look," Chibiko said, pointing to the body of boxes surrounding his sofa. "We built a spaceship." "Wow!" Danny said. "Can we ride it?" "Of course we can," Chibiko replied. And so, as the afternoon turned to evening and the moon slowly rose in the sky, Chibiko and Danny sat comfortably on the sofa of their very own spaceship and went on a space adventure together. One afternoon, Chibiko was looking out the window at his backyard and wondering what he could do. His backyard was a bit messy. Dirty really, because there was a lot of dirt. But it didn't have many fun things in it. No swing set, no basketball hoop, no vegetable garden, nothing. He returned to his living room and looked at his TV, just in time to see a story about a dog that had dug a hole while looking for a bone that it had buried years ago. Instead of a bone, though, it had found a nugget of gold. Apparently, It was worth a lot of money. Chibiko looked at the picture of the gold nugget in amazement. And then an idea hit him. He could look for gold in his own backyard. He had lots of space to dig in after all. And so, he dug around his old chest, chesty he called it, until he found a spade and went out into his backyard. If Chibiko's memory from watching pirate cartoons was correct, then if there was any treasure to be found, it would be buried beneath a big letter X, often red in color. Chibiko wandered around his backyard in search of a big red X, but he found nothing. After walking around 3 times, he found a patch in the grass that looked a bit like an X. It was his best lead, and so he got his spade and started digging. Dirt went everywhere. It got all over the grass, colored his windows brown, and made Chibiko himself very dirty. Even though he did a lot of digging, Chibiko had found no signs of gold. Perhaps there was gold buried in a different part of his yard. Chibiko's hole was quite deep though. He jumped once and fell back down. He jumped twice and fell down again. He jumped a 3rd time and climbed and climbed and climbed and climbed until he got out. Phew! Clearly, looking for a big red X wasn't working. Chibiko went back inside, showered, and again dug around inside Chesty. 2 minutes, 10 minutes, 37 minutes later, he pulled out a metal detector. Chibiko took his metal detector outside, switched it on, and started walking around his yard, listening to the beeps. He checked one corner. Beep, beep, beep. He checked the next corner. Beep, beep, beep. He checked a 3rd corner. Beep, beep, beep. He checked the final corner. Beep, beep, beep. Nothing. Chibiko felt a bit sad. He walked back towards his back door, dragging the metal detector behind him. Beep, 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 beep. Chibiko jumped with excitement. His metal detector was beeping super fast. He ran, got his spade, and dug. He dug and dug and dug until he found an old box. That's strange, he thought to himself. I guess I should open it. Inside he found a photo of himself as a baby. Wow! He sat and stared at the photo. This must have been buried here years ago, waiting for him to find it. He had completely forgotten that it had been buried here. He felt very happy. He hadn't found any gold, but this treasure was still very good. He was glad that he had spent his afternoon digging up his backyard. even if he had made a very big mess. One day, Chibiko woke up feeling a little bit cold. At first, he was worried that he might be sick, but when he got out of bed and looked out of the window, he noticed that there were white dots fluttering down outside his house. It was snowing. Feeling very excited, Chibiko took a nice hot shower, ate some breakfast, brushed his teeth, and then searched his closet for something warm to wear. No? Nope. Perhaps not. Something else, maybe? No. Yeah, oh dear. Chibiko dug and dug and dug through his closet, making a terrible mess of his bedroom as he did so, until finally he found what he was looking for. Ah, that's better. Now that he was properly dressed, Chibiko could go outside and play in the snow. He opened his front door and walked out into the winter wonderland that had come to visit his home. Much to Chibiko's surprise, even though the ground was white and snow was falling from the sky, it was still quite sunny outside. What a nice day it was turning out to be. While he had seen snow in TV shows and movies before, this was the first time that it had ever snowed in Chibiko's town. He wondered if he should go to the park and see if people were having a snowball fight. But he was a bit scared to wander too far from his house when it was snowing so much. And so he instead decided to fall back into the snow and make an angel. Poof! Ouch! Chibiko had always imagined that snow was soft, like white cotton candy from the sky, only less sticky. It turned out that it was a little bit harder and a bit more icy than he had been expecting. Still, it had cushioned his fall enough, and so he waved his arms up and down and created a beautiful snow angel. "Nice angel," a voice said. "Want to try making something else?" Chibiko sat up and saw Danny standing beside what looked like the base of a snowman. "Sure," Chibiko said. "What do you want me to do?" "Can you roll a nice big snowball to use as a body?" Danny asked. "I'll make the head." Chibiko gave a salute like he had seen on a movie once. "Can do, Captain," he said, and then set about rolling a nice big snowball to use as a snowman's body. As he rolled, he wondered what they might name their snowman. Tom, Brett, Angelus, Yuki. Oh, what if it was a snow woman? Jessica? Lara? Marlene? And what would they dress it in? Maybe he had a spare scarf? Did they have a top hat? Would a snowman or woman want to wear a jacket? Perhaps he shouldn't worry about what it would wear until after he had figured out what he and Danny would use for things like buttons, eyes, and a nose. Did he have any carrots in the house? Would celery make an okay nose, or would it just look strange? Maybe he could use pieces of chocolate for the buttons and the eyes. But he wondered if Danny would be tempted to eat those. He knew that he himself would be. "Chibiko! Chibiko, where are you?" Chibiko could hear Danny calling his name. "I'm just here," Chibiko answered. "Where?" Danny asked. "Here," Chibiko said again. "Oh," Danny said. Chibiko had spent so much time thinking while he was rolling his snowball that instead of helping to make a snowman, he had turned himself into one. Chibiko was sitting in his kitchen, nursing a mug of coffee. It had gotten cold because he didn't usually drink coffee because it was very bitter, and it was taking him a long time to drink it. He was very tired. Danny wandered into the room. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Huh? Oh, Danny," Chibiko said. "How did you get in?" "The door was wide open," Danny answered. "Oh," Chibiko said. "I don't think I've been able to sleep for 2 nights now. I'm trying to drink this coffee to help my brain stay awake, since it's daytime now." "I don't think that coffee can do that," Danny said. "I think that it just stops your body from falling to sleep. And sleep is what you need." "But I can't sleep," Chibiko said. "I may have a cure for that," Danny beamed. "Follow me." And so, Chibiko followed Danny out of his house, almost forgot to shut his door, and then they rode the bus to the bookshop. It had been a long time since they had been to the bookshop. Chibiko looked around in amazement. There really were a lot of books. It also looked like they sold coffee and other drinks. Ooh, they had caramel with chocolate sauce. "Snap out of it!" Danny said. He had already found what he was looking for and was holding a book. Chibiko picked it up and looked at it. It was called The Excellent Adventures of Amazing Danny. "I recommend this one," Danny said. Chibiko didn't know that Danny was in a book. He was very surprised, but he was too sleepy to show it. He was also having trouble finding words. "Okay," he managed to say. "Let's get this one." They bought the book together and then went back home. After they arrived, Danny returned to his treehouse and Chibiko took the book up to his bedroom. The sun was already starting to set as he opened the picture book. Somehow, Danny looked a bit taller in the book than he did in the real world. Chibiko turned the page. He wondered what kind of brave adventures his friend would have. The story started with Danny watching TV. Then it showed him eating breakfast. On the next page, he was playing video games. Chibiko wanted to know what game Danny was playing, but the book didn't say. After this, Danny was reading a comic book. Then, he was going for a walk, buying some milk, laying down in the grass and looking at some clouds. The book wasn't at all what Chibiko had been imagining. He was expecting a story of a hero and maybe dragons or magic or even a car chase. Maybe the next page would be different? Chibiko went to turn the page. He never finished turning. He was fast asleep. Danny might need some help with making his stories a bit more exciting, but at least this one had done exactly what Chibiko had needed it to.